whatever it is that is bothering you, then you're sort of stuck and you just kind of spin it in your brain over and over again. So that's what happened. So I ended up getting up, doing a few things for the show, and I've been in here for a while. So anyway, welcome to the program. I feel like it's going to be an awesome show. I feel like this could be one of those shows, that you say, I remember that Tuesday in April when it was just 4 hours of absolute brilliance. Well, I'll find somebody to bring the brilliance to you. But we will have a good show, I can promise you that. But it makes you think, right? It makes you think about why we're here. Life in general, when you're staring at the ceiling. Saying to yourself, like, okay, you want to go back to sleep, you don't want to go back to sleep. You start to think about whatever it is that's on your mind. You hear your heart beating, it's beating, boom, against this walls of your chest, and you're thinking to yourself, man, this is just a muscle inside of my body. It stops, it cramps, it decides to shut down for 3 minutes. I'm dead, right? Everything, obviously, we've all thought that. As you're sitting there staring at the ceiling, feeling it pound again against the inside wall of your chest, you're saying to yourself, this is a miraculous muscle. It starts beating before you die, it starts beating before you're born and doesn't stop until you die. And you think about any other muscle that you have, right? Any muscle. And think about doing something as minuscule, like a calf raise, right? Calf raise is a body weight calf raise. Just think about doing that and saying to yourself that your life depends on you doing that for 24 hours. You wouldn't make it an hour. You wouldn't make it probably 5 minutes before your calves would give out. Or pick the strongest muscle you think you have on your body, and think to yourself that, like, to do a constant squats with no weight, how long do you think you can do it for? And think about those things. Your heart is just going, man. Boom, 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 from before you were born until that last breath you take. It's pretty remarkable. The human body is pretty incredible and amazing and fragile all at the same time. Indestructible at times, it seems, for some folks, and then very destructible at times for others. But you're sitting there, you're staring at the ceiling, you're asking yourself, what's the meaning of it? Like, why are we here? How did we get here? Right? What was here before there was anything here? What was here before that Big Bang, if in fact it was the Big Bang? And like, what's the purpose of your life, or the human being in general, the consciousness that we are? What's the meaning? Is it to reproduce, procreate? Is that why we're here? It can't be that, right? Is it just this is the last, or the next step on evolution, the evolutionary chain? What's going to come after us will make us look silly? Is that where we are? Is there a greater purpose? Are we here to make money, to love, to again have kids? Are we here to conquer others? Are we here is it a test for something else? Like, are we on this planet to test us for a different place in the universe? Or is it? This is the spin we get. We get to spin one time, or one time on the big blue marble ride, and then that's it. And then when you close your eyes for the last time, it's lights out. Is that it? A lot of people believe that. We're not here to discuss. We're not here to discuss politics, are we? Right? Conservative liberals. That can't be it. Are we here to enjoy what's here, or part of it? Is it the idea that we're supposed to coexist with other creatures? Is that why? A higher being put us here, or is a higher being something that has now become a silly thought, right? There's a whole contingent of folks out there who believe that's stupid, to think of, like there's a higher power, something that started the ball rolling. But I still think the one thing that we can't ever get our mind around, ever, right, is how it all began. And then on the other side of that, like where it all ends. Those are two things that the human mind is just not capable of trying to figure out. Like, how did we start? And where are the outer edges of the universe? And then at the outer edges of the universe, what's behind that? Really, it's an incredible thing to think about. And we've all thought about this stuff. We've all had these moments. I'm not even saying I spent a lot of time thinking about that. I was thinking a little bit about that today when I was laying there, but I got motivated in a hurry, so I got up and did my stuff. But we've all had those nights where you just sort of try to reconcile your existence, what it means, what it's supposed to mean, or have you done with your life what you were supposed to do? That's a big one for me. Have you done all with it that you were supposed to? Is there more left in the tank, or have you pretty much reached that point in your life where you're existing till you no longer exist? I mean, I think everybody has a couple of great games in them, a couple of great runs in them. Whether we use that, I don't know. You never know. Some folks never use any of it. Some folks use more than they probably thought they had. And it's not just about money, right? Is it? Or is it? Maybe it is just about money for some folks. Maybe it's a scorecard. Maybe it's the person who dies with the most wins. Whoever has the most toys in the end wins. But, guess what? Eventually they die. So where do they go? Or is that it? Lights out. So you accumulated all this wealth, had a hell of a ride, and then goodbye. And what's the meaning of that? And then you put on the planet for 80 years or whatever, and then poof, gone. And what was you? What was you before there was a you? Were you some celestial entity that was searching for a spot to pop up? Or before you became you, were you nothing? Were you blank? Were you zero? You thought I was going to open up with the Ukraine-Russia story today, didn't you? Or maybe you thought I was going to open up with a transgender story or men being pregnant. Nah, I didn't feel like it today. I'm sure we can get to all that good stuff. We can get to the pregnant male emoji if you'd like. Earmarks, and certainly the budget, and the union payouts, and the paydays for all the folks who are working here in the state of Connecticut, all that stuff. That's fine. Eventually we can get to that. But don't you sometimes just want to sit there and sort of talk it out, think it out, feel it out, figure it out? I mean, we're not going to figure it out. You have a theory. I may have a theory. Other folks who are maybe smarter than both of us combined have theories. I opened up with an astrophysicist who has his own theory. But even the most ironclad, brilliant theories have holes you can fire through them. Certainly, big giant cracks in what they think is not only the meaning of life, but how it all began and where it's all going. Right? Essentially, we'll talk about the Big Bang. Okay, so it all started from one, boom. What was there before that, though? That'd be something, right? That'd be something. And how significant are we on the food chain? Right? Are we as high as it gets? Or are we bottom level food chain stuff? Are we sort of like insects compared to other creatures that are out there that we've never met or seen? I mean, the vastness that is space could hold anything. Could be anything out there. I mean, literally, we could be ants. Think about what we are and what you do and what you see every day. When you're driving around today when it's light out, pay attention to people coming at you, driving past you. pulling off an exit, getting into a store, going here, going there, running around, doing their life. It's like if you were looking at us from space, you'd look at us like we look at an anthill. A bunch of ants looking like they're going around in chaotic, different direction, but they're all going someplace with a purpose. What's the difference between that and us? We're running around, going to this store, doing that, paying a bill, but we're all running around, going to get food, like ants. So some other being which has the intellectual superiority of what we would have to an ant, they may have to us, looking at us saying, look, they're pretty smart. Look how they go here, they get their food there, they go back to the little houses there. We could literally be a universe on a grain of sand in the middle of a desert somewhere, and that's how big everything could be. And even that doesn't do it enough justice. All right. I'm not sure if I bummed you out or if we made you think. Either way, the show just begins. So let's get to it. Stick around. You're listening to 94.9 News Now and Stimulating Talk. Mr. Johnny Cash.